In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in black and white emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White, where we are coloring conversations on the canvas of America. Tonight, our special guest is Michel, the cello assassin. From the heart of Haiti to the global stage, Michel's journey with the cello began at the age of 5. Not with classical scores, but through the soulful sounds of Haitian roots and Caribbean rhythms. Raised in a musical culture where freestyle was second nature, Guy learned to express emotion through improvisation, while also gaining the discipline of reading music early on. That balance of freedom and structure shaped everything that followed. He grew up playing in church, blending Haitian gospel with stirring harmonies of American praise. After moving to the U.S., Guy pursued classical music not out of passion, but necessity to keep the cello in his life. But it wasn't until 2008 that he truly found his voice, stepping away from convention to take a leap of faith into a solo career. That risk opened the door to performances across the U.S. and the Caribbean and beyond. From intimate stages to high-profile events, including the wedding of MLB star Michael Kopech and actress Vanessa Morgan, features on Univision's Muscian Bela, and performances for former presidents of Haiti. Guy has redefined what it means to be a cellist. Today, as a proud member of the Recording Academy, he continues to push the boundaries of his instrument. His mission to showcase the endless possibilities of the cello, to let it sing in any genre, on any stage, and in every heart. Ladies and gentlemen, we actually have an issue with Guy logging on. Give me 1 second here and let's get this worked out.
Can you see me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir. How are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. I am so sorry.
So, how has everything been with you since the last time you've been on the show?
it's been great. Just got a lot of, well, I got a second kid who's 9 months today.
Oh, congratulations.
Hence the tardiness, because he lost his mind and started hollering.
Okay. So, um, after reading your bio and so forth, and was saying, of course, I was just telling the audience about, how you're blending, the musics from the Caribbeans and your native land of Haiti into U.S. music. From since you've got that time and you've kept the cello going, has that done and a lot now here a lot of things for you now here in your career, considering the events that you've been a part of?
Yeah, actually, this has been something very good in terms of people seeing the ability of what I'm doing, because obviously the cello is not seen as what I'm doing, and the fact that I'm able to just do blend so many different genres and still add my roots into it.
Hmm.
It's very rare as a cellist to be able to do that. So it's been great. I actually was in Alaska. When was it? Um, in June
Okay. Oh,
for a
wow.
show. Yeah, for a show. And I'm supposed to be going back next week, matter of fact.
Oh, wow, congratulations.
Thanks.
So what inspired you to pursue your career in music, specifically playing the cello?
Because I started playing when I was 5 in Haiti. So for those who don't know, I started playing. I was born and raised in Haiti, and this is how that's where I started playing the cello. I'm the last of 4 siblings. Both my parents were they music lovers. They both sang in their church choir, and that's how they met. And my eldest brother played the piano. The second one plays the viola. My older sister played the violin and also sings. And basically, the cello is my dad's favorite instrument. So he decided to introduce me to it. Took me to a recital of this guy showcasing who happened to be my teacher, and he ended up teaching me. But the cool thing about it is, and I'm forever grateful, because he taught me the way that I play now. He basically introduced me to Haitian music. I was doing a lot of, the Haitian rhythm art with the drums and learning how to improvise at the age of 5. It was
Hmm.
not until I came to the US 8 years later, when I was 13,
Hmm.
in order to pursue my studies, when I was introduced to classical music, and I had no idea all the classical composers they were naming. I had no idea, and people thought it was odd that a cellist didn't know classical music and was still able to play. I was like, wow.
Wow. So, can you tell us about your musical journey and how you start? And specifically with that happening with the cello, is that the only instrument that you played when you first started, or did you play any other instruments?
Nope, I played the cello from 5 until I went to college. Um, when I studied, um, when I went to college, there was an opportunity to join a band, and
Okay.
I couldn't join the band playing the cello. I, so, and it was giving away scholarship money. So I was like, oh, well, I because I briefly played the sax in the ninth grade, but
Mhm.
years later I forgot everything. So I picked up the sax. In a month before the tryouts, I was like, okay, let me see what I can do. So I was
Mhm.
able to master it enough to get selected in the band and receive a scholarship.
Oh wow. So with that, with your transition though from Haiti to the US, and playing the cello, um, is that one of the things that as far as like you and your siblings, you all play different instruments, and you say your sister sings.
Yes.
So do you guys like sometimes get together to do like a formation where you guys get together and maybe do your own band, or how has it been for them as well as yourself in coming here to the country with your music?
We used to do that when we were younger,
Mhm.
but I am the only one who does it professionally full time.
Okay.
My brother went into the medical field. My sister is a teacher. She's still in the music world, but not as a performer. So I'm the
Okay.
only one who actually do it full time.
Oh wow. Okay. So, how has your Haitian heritage influenced your music and your approach to playing the cello?
Oh, it influenced a lot because the way that I play reflects the some of the rhythm. Even when I play hip hop, I always add some Haitian rhythm to it.
Mhm.
So it's very much heavily embedded into my system. Can I get away from it? So anything that I do has some kind of sprinkle.
Well, I mean, I think that would be natural, especially since, I think it kind of like it has to have kind of like a similar flow, or does it?
Oh, for sure. It sure does.
So, what are some of your favorite pieces to perform on the cello, and why do they resonate with you?
Um, Honestly, when I get asked that, I don't have any favorite songs that I play.
Mhm.
Um, because I love Haitian music.
Mhm.
And I also love Latin music. I love hip
Mhm.
hop. I love a variety of songs. I don't have any favorites. And
Okay.
I know it didn't really answer, but I honestly don't have a favorite song to play.
Okay. Can you share your experience of training both in Haiti and abroad, and how has that shaped your musical identity?
Um, well, in Haiti, it was mostly what I do now. In terms of, I hate to use the word freedom, but more more freedom to enjoy the things that I wanted, especially coming from the Caribbean culture. It was not frowned upon to play like the Haitian music, but when I came here, it was frowned upon for me to play anything else outside of classical music. And I like classical, just like I like any other genre, but the fact that I was told that's the only thing I had to play, I did not like that at all.
Oh wow.
So I did not really enjoy my studies here because
Hmm.
I felt like I was put in a box and I was not allowed to be my authentic self, to express myself because obviously I'm from Haiti. That's what I
Hmm.
wanted to play. I wanted to
Hmm.
play Haitian music or Caribbean music, but it was not allowed.
So tell us, when did that change, and how did that change?
It changed when I graduated.
Okay.
So now I didn't have anybody to tell me no. So as soon as I graduated, I was like, okay, I have the degree.
Mhm.
I can still teach because obviously, in order to be a teacher or anything, I had to have a degree. So I was like, once I got it, I was like, okay, I'm on my own. I don't,
Mhm.
I'm, I'm my own person. So freedom.
Oh
So I
wow.
started doing my own thing
Mhm.
and got back to my roots.
Wow. So, have you collaborated with other musicians or artists? If so, who have been some of your favorite collaborators and why?
I actually do a lot of collabs with other string players who basically are like me with in terms of improvisation.
Hmm.
And I have two guys that I play with a lot lately.
Hmm.
Um, I posted a video I think about a week and a half ago,
Hmm.
uh this guy that I play with, these two, well, this one of them I play with a lot, and
Okay.
the other one I just met, but they like the flow is so good, and I enjoy playing with those guys because we could come up with something on the fly, and then there's no pre-rehearsal. It just we feel the music, and then we just go with it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So for you, what does the creative process mean and do for you in knowing that, you're creating this music that people are liking, and if there's a particular genre that it falls under, well, how does that make you feel and where do you go as being a creator?
I always like to be as crazy as possible. Um, my mind is always going at 100 miles an hour, funny enough. And my cello practice is just a time for me to experiment. And I have two different ways that I practice. There's the first part where it's just me and the cello, just play, whatever happens, happens. And then the second part is just me playing along, just improvising to different songs to
Okay.
just see how many different ideas I can come up with.
Oh. So, what has been your most memorable performance experience, and what made it so special?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Um, one of the first, I would say my very first performance as a solo cellist. The reason why it's so special because I didn't perform for a lot of people. It was probably less than I remember it was probably only 12 people. But what I didn't know, these people were like owners of different businesses.
Okay.
And me playing for them, I could have easily not, because I have since then I have the same mindset, whether I'm performing for one person or 1,000 people. I'm gonna give you the same amount of energy. So it forever stayed with me because had I treated these people as, okay, there's only 12 people, let me not give my best, I probably would not be sitting here talking to you because these people just they saw me and then one thing led to another. I got a phone call, this, I'm having this event there. I saw you at this place, and then people started calling me to play for them. So that's I would say that's the most memorable because it was my very first one.
Okay. Oh, wow. So, how do you merge different musical styles or genres in your cello playing?
How? It's kind of tough to explain because it's like when a DJ's like playing, they have all these songs in their heads, and while they listen to it, they could think of another song that would go with it. It's basically what's happening in my head. As I'm playing, I hear something that I think could work,
Mhm.
and it just translate to my playing.
Mm. Well, can you tell us, like, you're located in South Florida, right?
Yes.
So, being in South Florida, I mean, how often, or is it like a regular thing for you to do performances there, especially around the beach areas?
Yeah. South Florida is known for parties and events. Everybody's always having an event on a random Tuesday because they can.
Mhm.
So I get called. So my performances are somewhat different because it's curated to the performance. I adjust to the vibe. I don't have a specific playlist. I just go with how the crowd is feeling. So
Okay.
that's what I think kind of like sets me apart
Mm.
because I'm not stuck to my show. I
Okay.
could have a playlist. I've That's happened to me so many times. I have an idea and I start playing it and I notice that the crowd is not enjoying it, or I would say not enjoying it, but not really hype, change it up. And then I'm able to just cater.
So, are you writing any music, or are you just performing songs?
Right now, it's mostly performing songs. I get called to occasionally to write cello parts for like whatever artist is in need of, the cello. But
Mhm.
I would say that's like probably 5% of my time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm mostly in the live. 99% of well, most of my time is dedicated to performing and teaching.
Mhm. So, do you have any new projects that you're working on right now?
Um, Not solo project, but probably with the same guys that I mentioned. Well, shout out to Ian and Mikey. So we're gonna be doing a kind of like a video shoot sometime next week to
Mhm.
play a few songs to put on Spotify and all these things. So these are the guys that I was telling you about just earlier that I enjoy playing with. So we're gonna
Right.
be doing something like that.
Okay. So, so other than those songs that you guys work on, are there any new projects that you're currently working on, or what can your audience look forward to, from you in the near future?
Uh, right now the two main things for me is the next performance happening next week, and then the project with the two guys.
Okay.
And obviously continuing to build my teaching business, basically teaching the next generation on how to improvise, the stage presence and how to become a full-time musician. So that's basically it, but not real upcoming projects per se.
So, what are some of the things, as you being an artist and a creator like you are, what are some of the things that you want our audience to know about you, the musician, the cello assassin? What do you want people to know?
um one of my passions is the instrument is not made for classical music, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get chewed for this. I know somebody's gonna get in my DM like, what am I talking about? But um, and it's not what it's presented to be. Maybe back in the 1600s, that's what it was made for, because that's who um basically ran the world, like the classical Mozart and Beethoven, the people with money back then. But the instrument is not just made for that. And I would tell people to not fall for that. The instrument is the instrument. Just like when you learn to read, nobody forces you to read a novel. You know how to read because you know the letters. You know how to formulate words. You read whatever your heart desires. It's
Mhm.
the same thing with music. If I play a note, you would not know what genre it is unless I played that specific genre. You could learn an instrument without being tied to any specific genre, and
Okay.
including classical music. Classical music is a genre. It's not the way to learn. It's a genre just like hip hop, R&B, reggae, bluegrass, jazz, etc. So my thing is, well, I diverted a little bit. I took a different turn. But what to know about me is that I enjoy obviously the cello. I enjoy everything that um is creative. I I am also a fitness guy. I enjoy everything fitness and martial arts. I've been practicing martial arts for 23, 24 years. That's how I got the name the cello assassin. It's like the cello
Okay.
mixed with the fighting, and then somebody was like, "Oh, cello assassin."
Mhm.
So that's how I got the name. So music lover, fitness lover, that is me.
Mhm. What challenges have you faced as a musician, and how have you overcome them?
Just like that. For me to tell people that I didn't want to play classical, that was the biggest challenge. Like when I told people that the cello could be mainstream, and it's like, what do you mean? So it's been, even now, it's still somewhat an uphill battle. A lot of people still don't see the cello as like a guitar or the drums and stuff like that. They put you in a corner and expect you to just be background. So that's probably the biggest challenge that I've been facing. And it was not until obviously I started showing that I could play just like a singer. I could play just like a violin player. I could play solo. I'm not just the bass in the background.
Right.
So until I started showing people the possibilities, then it was just it was a hard sell.
Wow. Yeah. So since you've been here in the U.S., I mean, is the cello one of those common instruments that you find with a lot of musicians slash artists, or are there just particular people that are playing that
Oh,
instrument?
it's rare. Even now in 2025,
Mhm.
the cello is not still not a common instrument.
Mhm.
And that's why every time I tell somebody that I play the cello, the first thing is like, "What orchestra you play with?" And when I tell them I do parties, they're like, "What?" Yes, I play at parties. It's okay.
Yeah, well, I will say I have saw some of your jam sessions there where I don't know if you was traveling or so forth, but I know you did a lot of those by the water. That I do
Yeah.
know. They were really really nice though. Yeah, this could have been probably with the guy that you're saying that you really like to perform with, but
Yeah.
I mean your jam sessions were really really awesome though because you guys were going for a while.
Yes, we were. We've been gone for days.
Um, how do you connect with your audience during performances, and what do you hope they take away from your music?
So when people book me, my focus is not about look at me, look what I'm able to do, but I aimed for them to have the best time of their lives.
Mhm.
So I that's the reason why I got the electric cello to allow me to walk around and connect. And I'm able to just, instead of just being in one spot where just everybody's all eyes on me.
Uh-huh.
That's how I connect with the people. I walk around, and if they're filming, I engage in the moment.
Oh wow! So, what's like the largest venue you've ever played?
Um, uh, I think it was for the former one of the former presidents of Haiti. He
Mhm.
came. He had a thing, and I think it was about 4,000 people.
Oh wow!
Man, oh, it was a lot of people.
Ooh, so I know you was really assassinating that
I had
cello.
to. I had to add some extra sauce in there.
Man, because you know what I always found is, especially when I was listening, to some of the clips that you post, is like, what I notice is that it looks like it's such a classical instrument that's different, but the way you were playing it, I mean, you would think you're listening to like a bass guitar, or you're listening to um I forgot what the other one of those other there's another guitar that it sounds like as well, but you give it a lot of flair and a lot of up tempo. How are you able to do that with that particular instrument?
Um, One of the first things that I started doing is I started listening to a lot of different people play.
Mhm,
From like Jimi Hendrix,
mhm,
because like soloists, so instrumentalists who play actually solo.
mhm,
Not particular bands, because bands it's basically just people playing together.
mhm,
I paid attention to these solo artists and how they perform,
mhm,
and I started copying
mhm,
their way. And then once I understood, then I started working on my own signature touch because I didn't want to be I didn't want people to tell me I sound just like X, Y,
Mhm,
and Z. Although it would be a huge compliment, but
mhm.
when I play, I want people to be like, "This is my sound."
Right. Well, as you mentioned Jimi Hendrix, I love some Jimi Hendrix, but I love Prince too because I
Oh my
think those
gosh,
were the
yes.
only two artists, and there could people would probably disagree with me, but they're the only two people I know that can play the guitar and make it talk.
Oh, they make it talk and sing, and I love Prince. Prince is like, oh my gosh, these guys. I don't understand what they did. I don't understand how they did it, but they just captivated people by the way they played.
Yeah, and but think about it though with Hendrix. I mean, Hendrix had to play it upside down because he was left-handed when he played the guitar, and nobody would never understand that this man could master that instrument like that
I
before
know.
they actually start changing them around. But I mean, that's masterful. And so it's like, though, when I listen to you play, though, it's like the sound is like, it's fresh, it's crisp, it's up to date, it's whatever you want it to be. But it's like when you're doing those jam sessions, it's like you're all the way into it. What pulls you into this music that you get so into it like that?
Um, g- it's funny. I was taught. Shout out to my teacher, Deacon Quincy. That's the way I was taught. Like he always told me, the notes are not the notes. The notes are what you make them to be. 'Cause like you can say a word, but it's the way you say it that connects.
Mhm.
So it's basically that's the way that he told me. Just make sure I play the notes, play
Mhm.
them, connect
Mhm.
with them. So every time I'm performing, I'm not just thinking I'm just gonna play. I'm just gonna try to make it sing. So you as the audience, you can receive it and feel good
Mhm.
about it.
So would it be safe to say then for each and every individual in your audience, you're playing to them?
Basically.
Yes. Okay.
I that's how I look at it. Even if it's 1,000 people, I try to find a way to make every single person feel like I'm playing specifically to them.
Okay. Wow. How has technology affected your music creation and outreach, especially in promoting your work?
Actually helped me out a lot because I discovered uh like guitar pedals.
Hmm.
I'm able to tweak my sound to make the cello sound like a flute, a violin, a bass guitar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Really?
and I came across this company. I could get it right now.
Hmm.
It's called Think what NS Design,
Hmm.
and I'm one of their artists. Created this cello that is
Oh,
basically
wow.
so tiny,
Oh,
and
wow.
that's the electric cello that I basically alter the sound to make it like whatever I want.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's so tiny, and I could pack this in and use it as a carry on. Yeah,
Oh man. So that's
yeah.
cool. So is that are they one of your sponsors or endorsers or they just make those particularly for you just to play?
No, not just for me, but they're one of my. I guess I represent their company
Hmm.
along with a few other cellists, and we get some perks.
Okay. So what are your long-term goals as a musician and how do you plan to achieve them?
Right now, my goal is to create awareness that the cello is not just the background. It could be the main thing. It could be the featured. So that's what I've been trying to basically passionate about showcasing.
Hmm.
And also the fact that you don't, if you love classical, it's fine. You could play it. But also create awareness that the cello is just an instrument. You don't have to, you can play whatever you want. I don't care
Hmm.
what you like.
Mhm.
As you can learn the instrument outside of being stuck to a genre. So that's been my biggest passion, and I'm gonna do it until I die, until it becomes a norm for people to know that they can learn this without being attached to anything.
Mm. So, how does your father feel about all the success that you've accomplished at this point?
Oh, amazed. Same thing with my mom.
Mhm.
Um, they originally, when I told them I wanted to pursue it, obviously it's scary.
Mhm.
Um, because as a Caribbean, as somebody from the Caribbean,
Mhm.
you got to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer. Otherwise, you're a failure.
Mhm.
So when I initially told them that, they thought I was crazy.
Uh-huh.
And it was on until years later when they started seeing me on big stages that they finally knew that it was possible. But my dad always told me that if anybody could do it, it's me, because I've always told him crazy things that I was gonna accomplish. I've always been like that, even as a uh, as a young boy. I
Mhm.
always had these crazy ideas, and I've always had a curious mind.
Mhm.
So they love it.
So, do you have aspirations to teach or mentor young musicians? If so, what lessons would you like to have them to understand?
Yes, I actually that's what I currently do now through my company called the Performing Arts Institute, which basically I have three stuff that I teach. The juggle as an instrument through improvisation. The second one is the stage presence,
Mhm.
because when you're performing, there a lot of them are used to just being, you cannot have fun, you cannot move, because obviously I hate to say the same thing, but they're so used to the classical era. When you do a recital, you're being judged on posture, and you gotta, it's too rigid. So I teach musicians to be free, to understand stage presence and how to connect to their audience. The third part of what I do is give them the blueprint on how to make it their full-time career. And they don't have to be starving artists. They have to understand the music business, because the business side of music, because that's why they call it music business, to understand that they're how to create value so people can pay them as a result.
Mhm. Well, I mean, how is that working in that industry, though? I mean, hadn't a lot of things changed to where, it's like, not where it was, let's say 15, 20, 30 years ago?
I mean, yeah, there's always going to be changes. You just, well, the beauty of it is you gotta adapt, because they're not gonna wait for you. You either adapt or get left behind. So whether we love it or not,
Hmm.
it's happening.
Right.
So that's part of the same thing that I teach people. You adjust. If you want to be, if you want to survive, especially as a full-time musician, you have to adapt. You can't just say I liked floppy disk, because that's what I grew up on, floppy disk. Then CD took it out. Then DVDs took it out. So right now, this is how the world is moving. You have to hop on that train.
Hmm.
Otherwise, they're gonna call the next person who's using the latest technology.
So, in your view, what role does music play in society, and how can it be a force for change?
Music is everywhere. Music is in movies. Music is
Hmm.
anywhere. At the
Hmm.
mall, in the elevator, music plays with our minds. It could be either positively or negatively. So you can use music for change, as far as you've heard so many different times when people with Alzheimer's, they forget everything else but the words, their favorite songs years later. So we can teach people to use music for good, and not focus so much on the negative side of it, because everything has pros and cons. If you use it for good, or you can use it for bad. It all depends on the person.
Mm. So, how do you see the role of musicians in fostering cultural exchange between Haiti and the rest of the world?
You just gotta expose the culture to as many people as possible. Be proud of where you come from. Be proud of who you are, and just like you see Afro beats and all these genres are being seen mainstream, we got to be doing the same thing. Understand the business side of it. Understand how to market that particular genre for the world to see it. Because I love Haitian music. I'm being biased, but I think Haitian music is really cool. And it just if only people knew about it, more people. I would say people outside of the Haitian culture knew about it. Really believe it would go far.
Oh, wow.
So the
So,
job as musicians is to promote themselves outside of the Haitian community for people to know
mhm.
about the culture.
Well, for those that may need a little lift in that, what are some examples you can tell them as to how to do those things?
Um, Basically, when they get booked for an event, play some Haitian music. I do that sometimes. I get called to an American event and I just play one Haitian music and see how they react. And people are like,
Uh,
"What's that?" Then that's an opportunity for me to educate them on it. Even there's slow R&B
mhm,
Haitian music that you would not know exist unless you play them.
mhm.
People
Wow.
don't know what they don't know.
Right. So, who are some musicians or composers that have significantly influenced your style and artistry?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard question. I started listening to Black Violin because I went to school with them. Well,
Okay.
mostly Kevin,
Mhm,
the guy who plays the violin. So
mhm,
when they really started blowing up, and I was like, oh, this is possible. They wanted the Showtime at the Apollo, and I saw them like on the main stages playing hip hop, and I was like, oh, okay, I could do that too.
mhm,
And they influenced my thinking a lot because obviously when I took the jump from being in school to pursue my solo career, obviously there was some fear
mhm.
because what I was doing it was not. Imagine 2008. Me telling somebody I want to play the cello for you was like looking at me like I'm crazy.
Well, I think initially, especially, in just maybe having just a little bit of knowledge about the cello, you're probably like, really?
I
But
know.
but I think it's until you play because I think when I think about your style, I kind of like think about as I was saying earlier. I think about how Hendrix and Prince was playing, the guitar, and I think about your sessions is like it's that up tempo, it's that thing that make you want to move, it's that
Right.
rhythmic vibe, and so. I mean, I think that's the unique part of knowing that you're actually doing that with the cello because it's like, really,
Yeah.
you
That's
know? And so, I mean, I don't know. I guess that's one of those things because I think people are going to have to, when they get the opportunity, I think they're going to, I think once they go and they see, those videos that you post, I think then they will see and say, "Oh my God, that's a cello."
yeah. I get the same response even in 2025. Like, oh my gosh, what is this?
How has your experience in music contributed to your personal growth and development?
Oh yeah. Um, that I always gotta be ready to adjust
Hmm.
as especially in improvisation. it's a blank paper, and you have to basically create your story, and
Mhm.
you can take it wherever you want. And it actually has allowed me to think like that,
Mhm.
because life doesn't happen exactly the way you want it.
Mhm.
You just have to learn how to navigate through whatever comes at you. So
Mhm.
that's how it shaped my mind to always think improvisation.
Mhm. So let me ask you this, because being a creator, are you more like on the visionary side where you can like just see it and then you can create it, or do you create it and then make a vision?
I see it, then
Okay.
it just I translate it on it. It's very hard to explain.
Mhm.
I see all the details in my head, and from it may not be the whole thing, but I see the
Mhm.
first couple steps, and I was like, I'm able to just put everything together.
Oh wow. So have
Yeah.
you always been like that, or has it taken you a while to get to that point?
I've been like that at a very young age. That's why I always told my parents that I've always had a curious mind. I'm
Hmm.
always thinking, what if, what if, what if? That's what I always ask myself. Even my wife sometimes get annoyed at me because I'm like, I always have something. What if I could do this? What if I could do that? She's like, okay.
Like you're on team too much.
Basically, I'm a whole lot.
Are you involved in any innovative or experimental music projects currently or planned for the future?
Currently, I was asked to be part of a project. These guys actually won the Grammys last year, the last Grammys.
Hmm.
So I was asked to be part of the next project. So I'm excited about that part.
Oh wow. So when is this supposed to happen and where can we watch that so when that drops?
I'm actually working on it as we speak. So
Okay.
I don't know when it's gonna drop because I'm not the owner of the project.
Okay.
So my thing is just write my part and then send it over to them, and then they decide. But once it's out, I will put out the information.
Okay. What advice would you give to young musicians who are just starting their journey in music?
Focus on your own journey. And a lot of times people put their limited beliefs or their fear on you,
Mhm.
especially I'm very passionate about this, especially if you're playing a string instrument. Somebody's gonna tell you to join an orchestra. If that's what you want, go for it. But if that's not what you want, please, there are other ways. So don't be afraid to create your own sound. And I know everybody want to be trendy. Yeah, I know everybody want to copy the next hot thing. But if somebody did not decide to be original, you would not have the Princes, the Jimi Hendrixes of the world. You would not have the Elvis or whatever superstar we see now, Jay-Z, Beyonce.
Mhm.
They decided to do their own thing. So my thing to you guys, focus on your own sound, focus on your own signature, even if it's not the most popular one. Stick to it and make sure that you make it popular.
So let me step back here because I was intending on asking you this when you were talking about your entrepreneurial side. Um, what got you to the point where you wanted to create what you do as an entrepreneur that's dealing with music? How did you get to that point?
Because they, I, there was a kid who played the cello,
Hmm.
and his parents reached out to me because he, although he loved it, kind of like the same thing that I'm teaching now, he did not like the way it was presented to him. So I was reached out to basically mentor him, teach him. And I was like, oh shoot, if he's like that, I wonder how many other people do not fit in that world. And that's what got me thinking. I'm like, because I know I'm like that. I was never interested. I was last chair the entire time I was at FIU. I was there. And then people didn't think that I like music. I love music. I just was not interested in what they were offering me. So that's what started, my mind started going. And I was like, oh, okay. That's when I created the Performing Arts Institute as kind of like that vehicle to teach people that love hip hop, love whatever, that there's a possibility to learn these kind of instruments.
So what has been the reception to the work that you're doing there at your center? I mean, like, has it been like one of those overwhelming results that you're like constantly filled, or how does that work? How is that working?
Funny thing is, a lot of times the the kids are very excited, obviously, but a lot of parents are open to it, but a lot of them are still hesitant because it's something like so new. They're like, oh my gosh. Um, a lot of them are still, I don't know, he loves it. I've seen now he practices by himself. He's like, mom, mom. But I'm like, if now you see your kid, you don't have to force him to practice. That should tell you something. That means they're enjoying what they're doing and they're still learning. So it's mostly the parents who are still, yeah, they want the orchestra for the prestige to put on their resume. But I'm like, it's the kid's future.
Yeah.
So it's starting to the parents are starting to adopt that idea because now they see their kids are enjoying their instrument.
Let's talk a little bit about your teacher. And the influence that he has made on you with the cello. Can you tell us about your teacher and the qualities that made them so influential in your life?
Oh, I don't even know where to start. The first thing is like he didn't teach me in that bubble. He told me to find my own sound. He introduced me to like the Haitian composers who, even though a lot of them were classical composers, but it was the Haitian version of it, with still with some drums, with some like the rhythm. And he always told me to play music, not don't play notes. Make your cello a part of you. And that's my guy.
So, what are some of the first lessons that your teacher taught you, and how did they impact your development as a cellist?
Notes are boring unless it's done in rhythm. Just like I could speak to you in a monotone way, and I would put you to sleep if I spoke like that all the time, right?
Right.
Right?
Mhm.
So it's the way you say things. So you could play one note, I could play the same note in 50 different ways and still make it sound good. It's not about how many notes you play, but how you play them.
Mhm.
So that's what really stuck with me.
So, just overall, though, when you think about your instrument that you're playing, you're playing the cello. Um, Overall, from just your early lessons to now, um, how confident or how are you now displaying your instrument, its usage, and the sound for people to understand what it's like, or what the instrument is actually about?
Um, so different parts of the question, the way that I perform.
Hmm.
Let me turn on the light because this has got dark on me just now. So the way that I perform, first people realize that I can do basically anything I want with the instrument. And the second thing is when I tell people, it's like when I tell you the letter A in English, you don't know what it is. If I play one note, I'm gonna demonstrate right now. So this is what I do when people to shock people, to let them know, unless you play unless you play a classical piece, the instrument is not made for that. If I did this to the instrument, Would you be able to tell me which genre I'm playing, classical or not?
No.
Okay. So this note is A. If I showed you where it is on the cello, this note, basically, I'll tell you, I'm gonna do right now. You're gonna be a musician.
Okay.
There are 7 letters
Mm-hmm.
that you gotta remember.
Mm-hmm.
You know your alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. These are the notes in music.
Mm-hmm.
And then each note, some notes have sharps or flat.
Right.
And then you have A sharp, B sharp, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically music. Does that say anything about classical, or does that say
It don't. It just tells you about the note.
right? And if I tell you A, that's the note A. On the cello, you have all strings on the cello. If I place a finger at a particular spot, you get the note A, the letter that we just spoke about. If you played it here, that's the note A. Can you play A for me? A. Does that say anything about a particular genre?
Mm-mm.
You're learning the instrument.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So then basically, I guess is when teaching the actual notes and having them to execute it, and then learning to execute it over and over again makes them that much better.
Basically. And now when whatever genre they like, okay, you listen to hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
I put on the hip hop. Do you hear the notes? Yes. Can you match that on your cello? Yes. Boom.
Okay.
There it is. You learn the notes. You learn where they go on the cello. Doesn't matter where you're playing. You play salsa, merengue, hip hop, R&B, soul, funk. Doesn't matter. The notes don't change. They're just arranged in different ways. Just like when you're talking, the letters are still A, B, C through Z. I could decide to say car. I could say table.
Mm-hmm.
It's not different letters. It's just them arranged in different ways. It's just like that's the way music is. If I'm playing R&B, I'm gonna play it in a different way, but it's still the same 12 notes. If I'm playing funk, I'm gonna play funk in a different way. I'm still playing the 12 notes.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing changes.
Okay. So, in what ways did your teacher serve as a mentor beyond just music? Did they impart life lessons as well?
Yes, because I was a troublemaker when I was young. And I got kicked out of the music program twice. And he was like, young man, you're very talented, but with that kind of behavior, you're not going to go far. So slow that down and know that talent will not take you with a bad attitude. You could be the most talented with a bad attitude. People would rather go with a B tier. So you have to know, you have to be a good person.
Wow. So, how did your teacher's music shape your own understanding of music and performance?
I mean, just like I mentioned, it shaped me to know that as long as I understand the rule of the game, as long as I understand music, I can apply that to any situation.
How did your teacher support you during challenging times in your musical journey?
Um, just gave me different ideas to keep trying, to try my own way, to create my own sound, and then everything will fall into place.
Can you share a specific instance when your teacher encouraged you to push beyond your limits?
I mean, during our lesson, he always did that. When I was struggling with something he was telling me, he's like, hey, Rome wasn't built in a day. Keep trying. Even when it takes me longer than other stuff, just everything that is hard was easy at one point.
What unique teaching methods or techniques did your teacher use that made learning more effective for you?
Freestyle.
Freestyle.
You can learn the same notes, but learn how to shuffle these notes in many different patterns as possible to expand your mind. Every time I practiced, it had to be a different session. Even when I played the same thing, the next day even if I played the same notes, the next day I had to figure out a way to play them in a different way.
So, what is it about freestyle that makes that so great for you, or that you like it so much?
Because every time is always something new. I could play the same song 50
Mhm,
times, and 50, each time I make it sound different.
mhm.
So it's never a dull moment because it forces me to keep thinking.
Okay, that makes sense. How did your teacher integrate aspects of Haitian culture into your music education?
Uh, Told me about the Haitian greats, and funny enough, one of the greatest Haitian pianists is my dad's best friend. So I grew up listening to his music and being around, him to listen to him talk and stuff like that. So it allowed me to just see the possibilities
And get the knowledge.
for sure.
What is the most important takeaway from you from your time with your teacher that still influences you today?
Um, the the there's a lot of them, but the most important thing is find your sound, create your own lane.
And how do you hope to honor or continue the legacy of your teacher in your own career as a musician?
By continuing to do what I'm doing now, exposing um, kids to their own creativity and letting them know that the possibilities just up here. There's no box. They can play whatever they want.
Wow. So, so then, just from an overall perspective, for what people can learn or take away from you today, is that not only are you a free spirit, but for you, the lifelong journey of being a creator has done wonders for you in how you live your everyday life.
Yes, basically, because the world is like a big old improvisation.
Mhm,
Obviously, life happens. You may have a plan, and then it changes.
mhm.
So you have to be able to adjust. So same thing with music. I'm playing
Okay.
something, and a new idea comes to mind, or when I'm performing, I notice the audience is not really, acting the way that I wanted them to be, and I just change the music.
Right. So, well, is so in closing here, what would you like to tell our audience? Some some words of wisdom, encouragement, how to connect with you on your socials, how to go to your website. What are some of the things you'd like for them to know?
Um, Create your own lane. Everybody has their own DNA. You are one of one. Doesn't matter how unique your idea may be, no matter how crazy that idea may be. There's a way to make a living. Because I never thought that I would play the cello for a living. You could niche. The niche could be as slim as you could, as crazy as it sounds. The world is big. It's 8 billion plus. Whatever your desire, there's a high chance that there's a group of people, there's a community that's looking for what you're offering. So remember that you're one of one. Create your own lane. Stay in that lane. Mind your business.
Mm,
You can find me on all social. Michel Music. GUYMICHEL Music. Wherever you are, wherever you cater, wherever you go, you're gonna find me there.
okay. Well, I want to thank you for spending this time with us. I appreciate, the education on your journey, because I'm sure that is very helpful and could be very impactful for an enormous amount of people, especially those young artists that are trying to come up in the music world. Because again, the navigation is so different than what it used to be. So, I think to hear people like yourself, it makes a difference for a lot of people.
I'm glad. I'm glad to
And,
be able to contribute.
and so I want to thank all of you that are watching on the YouTube channel. If you have not yet um, subscribed and got all of the notifications from the YouTube channel, I would like your support. If you would go and do that, as soon as you possibly can, because I'd like for you to get the opportunity to see all the shows live when they do happen, as well as you can go back and watch all the previous recorded shows. I want to thank you guys for listening to Mr. Michel here, as he just gave us some really, really good lessons about the cello, which for most people, as he stated, they pretty much see it as a classical instrument. But until you see him play it, then you'll know that it's, it's definitely a multifaceted instrument, and it's definitely worth the listen. It's worth the learning, and it's worth playing. I want to thank you all for watching the show tonight. We will be back on tomorrow with another great show. I want to thank you, Guy. Appreciate you again for spending this time with us. And we will see you guys tomorrow night with another great show on America in Black and White, where we're coloring conversations on America's canvas. You all have a great evening.